Gina Carano just won a major victory in her lawsuit against Disney, and this legal battle could drag some of the biggest names in Star Wars into court, including Kathleen Kennedy and Pedro Pascal. Disney tried to shut this case down, but the judge denied their motion, meaning we could see a courtroom showdown with key witnesses like Jon Favreau Bob Chapek and even Bear Grylls. Why did Disney fire Carano for her political opinions while letting others like Pedro Pascal post controversial content? And could Kathleen Kennedy really take the stand to answer these explosive questions under oath? Stick around as we dive into how this could become a disaster for Disney and Lucasfilm. It's been 3.5 years since Disney and Lucasfilm fired Gina Carano for her political views, and even went as far as to lie about her, accusing her of trying to ruin her own career. But recently, Carano has scored a major win in court against them. Now, despite what you might have heard in the media, where people said this case didn't stand a chance, it wasn't dismissed like many predicted. In fact, Disney thought for sure they'd win with their motion to dismiss, especially since Elon Musk has been financially backing the lawsuit. But that's not what happened at all. Instead of getting the case thrown out, the judge denied Disney's motion. This means Carano's lawsuit against Disney over her firing from The Mandalorian is moving forward, potentially heading toward trial. That was Disney's last shot to end this quietly before we could really get into the meat of things before discovery, depositions, and all the legal arguments start to unfold. And when this case does reach trial, it's shaping up to be a spectacle. Carano has named some big names in the Star Wars world who could be called to testify, and one of those is none other than Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy herself. Carano's lawsuit claims that Disney and Lucasfilm discriminated against her by ignoring politically charged posts made by her male co-stars while firing her for expressing her own views. What's even more shocking is that Disney, in their motion to dismiss, essentially admitted to this. They acknowledged that they fired Carano because of her political opinions, while at the same time allowing people like Pedro Pascal, who starred alongside Carano in The Mandalorian, to post controversial things without facing any consequences. We're talking about actors like Pedro Pascal and even Marvel's Mark Ruffalo, who have posted some pretty wild stuff, but they're still employed by Disney. Carano, on the other hand, wasn't as lucky. And that's what makes this case so interesting. If this does go to trial, we could actually see Kathleen Kennedy and Pedro Pascal answering direct questions in court under oath. Not just them, though. Gina's case could also bring other big names into the spotlight, like Mandalorian creator Jon Favreau and former Disney CEO Bob Chapek. All of them are potential witnesses in this case, according to filings from both Gina Carano and Disney. Even Bear Grylls and Lucasfilm's public relations mastermind Lynn Hale might get called into court to testify. Carano didn't just stop calling out Kathleen Kennedy and Pedro Pascal as potential witnesses. She also named Bear Grylls, the survival expert who worked with her on Running Wild with Bear Grylls, along with Kathleen Kennedy and Lynn Hale, who was responsible for overseeing the massive publicity machine behind Star Wars. Now, you can bet that Disney is going to do everything in its power to keep these people from being dragged into court. They're likely going to fight hard to prevent these high-profile names from having to testify. But one of the major points of contention in this lawsuit is the idea that Carano was treated unfairly compared to her male co-stars. In her lawsuit, which she filed back in February, Carano claims that Disney and Lucasfilm turned a blind eye when other actors posted offensive and politically charged content directed at Republicans. Meanwhile, she was fired for expressing her own views, which stem from her cultural and religious beliefs. One of the key examples she pointed to was Pedro Pascal's 2017 post, where he compared former President Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. Carano also highlighted other posts from Pascal where he compared the U.S. immigration policy to Germany's concentration camps during the Holocaust. These were some pretty inflammatory posts, and yet Disney allowed Pascal to continue his work with The Mandalorian without any consequences. This double standard is at the heart of Carano's legal argument. Now, we all know that many people would prefer a world where actors and actresses just keep their mouths shut and stick to their roles. But let's be real, that's not the world we're living in. And if Disney is going to allow actors to voice their political opinions publicly, then it should apply to everyone, regardless of where they fall on the political spectrum. So when they fire Gina Carano and then try to cover up the real reasons behind it, all while allowing Pedro Pascal to post things that call half the country Nazis, it's clear that something's not right. That's exactly what Pedro Pascal was posting. We've talked about his posts before, and they've been out there for years. And what's happened to him? Absolutely nothing. He's still out there, still getting roles, still landing major movie and TV deals. He wasn't fired, wasn't even disciplined. This is the same story when it comes to people like Mark Hamill or Mark Ruffalo, both of whom have repeatedly posted wild and unhinged stuff about right-wingers. But for Disney, that's perfectly fine. It's clear that Gina Carano was let go because she didn't have the right political opinion, and that's what makes this whole situation so frustrating. Now, personally, I would love to see Kathleen Kennedy being forced to sit through a deposition and answer all these tough questions. Just imagine seeing her dragged in front of a court to explain what really went down behind the scenes. Of course, I've said before that we don't know how far this case is going to go. One thing's for sure, Disney is probably going to do everything it can to stop certain details from coming out during the discovery phase. As of right now, the trial is tentatively set for September 2025, so there's a lot of time between now and then, with plenty of discovery, digging, and motions that will happen in the meantime. But the fact that we might actually see Lucasfilm's president, Kathleen Kennedy, in court is something that's going to make everyone want to watch this trial unfold. It's been over 3 years since Disney and Lucasfilm dismissed Gina Carano due to her political views, even going so far as to misrepresent her actions and accuse her of trying to sabotage her own career. Recently, however, Carano has achieved a significant win in court. Despite what you might have heard from the media, where skeptics claimed her case didn't stand a chance, the lawsuit wasn't dismissed as many had predicted. Disney believed they were on solid ground with their motion to dismiss, especially since Elon Musk has financially backed the lawsuit. However, the reality turned out to be quite different. Instead of getting the case thrown out, the judge denied Disney's motion, meaning Carano's lawsuit against the company over her firing from The Mandalorian is moving forward, potentially heading toward trial. This was Disney's last opportunity to settle the matter quietly before the more intricate legal processes such as discovery and depositions began to unfold. When this case does go to trial, it promises to be a spectacular event. Carano has named several influential figures from the Star Wars universe who may be called to testify, including Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy herself. Carano's lawsuit claims that Disney and Lucasfilm discriminated against her by ignoring politically charged posts made by her male co-stars while firing her for voicing her own opinions. What makes this even more intriguing is that Disney essentially admitted to firing Carano for her political beliefs in their motion to dismiss. They allowed actors like Pedro Pascal to post controversial remarks without repercussions while terminating Carano. This apparent double standard is central to Carano's legal argument. As we know, many would prefer a world where celebrities refrain from sharing political opinions. However, if Disney allows actors to voice their views, it should apply to all political beliefs. The firing of Gina Carano, accompanied by an attempt to cover the true reasons behind it, raises serious questions about fairness and consistency. Now, imagine the spectacle if Kathleen Kennedy were compelled to testify under oath. The possibility of significant names like her, Pedro Pascal, Jon Favreau, and even Bear Grylls appearing in court adds layers of intrigue to this case. Currently, the trial is tentatively set for September 2025, which gives ample time for further developments and revelations. So, what do you guys think about all this? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss any updates. And make sure to share this video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.